As some of y'all know, Busta Rhymes is dropping his latest project, Extinction Level Event 2, The Wrath of God, this coming Friday, October 30th. And if you know Extinction Level Event, you know that's one of the albums. That's one of the ones. So the expectations for this one have been set pretty high. And I feel like Busta Rhymes is aware of that. So he released the first single featuring Kendrick Lamar, titled Look Over Your Shoulders. You know what time it is. Let's go bar for bar and break down these lyrics. So, first things first. This track has been out there for a minute. So it's not a fresh Kendrick Lamar track. If you guys have followed any of his leaks, this was leaked a couple of years ago and was compiled on this Bad Kid Chill City sort of EP thing. So just bear that in mind. Also, this samples I'll Be There by the Jackson 5, but only using Michael's vocals. Nothing crazy, just something to point out. So it starts off with an intro from Michael and Busta Rhymes. And it goes, just look over your shoulders, honey. Yeah, I know. It's been a minute. Got to know. Just look over your shoulders, honey. Whenever you need me, just look over your shoulders. Whenever you need me, just look at your shoulders, honey. Yeah, you need me. There's not really much to go into there. That's straightforward. Like, you or they will be there for whoever they're talking to. This goes directly into Kendrick's verse, which is really long, but that's okay. We'll go through it. I wrote my first bars in the car with Stacy. How bizarre my battle scars at large would lace me. Big marbles. How to lead this new generation, boy. He was talking about how back in the day, his first bars were in the car with Stacy. And then he's kind of like thrown off because his battle scars are what's gonna kind of be intertwined in his lyrics this entire time. So if we're going off of this being an older track, even if he's just kind of reminiscing, like he didn't realize that how much his upbringing and his past would really affect him, you could say. And then he leads this new generation. That's what's confusing to me because Kendrick's been kind of missing for a little while, but sure. Don't argue with us. Marvelous beats, selectors, authors, and novel spitters. It's all for the literature, and it's all for the hideous. Yeah, no, him saying don't argue with us is just directly towards what I just said. And then I think he's talking about Top Dog in general. So they got marvelous beat selectors, they got authors, they got novel spitters, and they're doing it all for the literature, and it's all for the hideous. So they're trying to do, or not do, but like show both the good and the bad sides of things. With the beat selectors, authors, and novel spitters, he may be kind of like foreshadowing PG Lang. Who knows? The nastiest flows, the chlamydia, I ain't afraid to say I need you. Yeah, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. I promise I never leave you. Yeah. My life is like 12 open mics of hopeless notes. Now it makes sense. He's talking about hip hop. He's going to be there for hip hop. And he needs hip hop. He always needs hip hop and he'll always be there for it. And his life is like 12 open mics of hopeless notes. So he's talking about a year. So there's 12 months in a year, 12 open mics of hopeless notes. They're just like, not necessarily talking about him and his music, but maybe like the general feeling about what's happening in the world. Again, because I know this was written before, it's hard to say what he's talking about. I write for sure, my folks unite. Soon as the flow get nice, my poltergeist that scares MCs. My prototype for my share of D's and RIP. He's writing for show. His folks, meaning his fans, his family, TD, they all come together. And then as soon as the flow gets nice, like when he starts rapping and just going in, the poltergeist that scare MCs like just appears. So like he's rapping so hard that the spirit comes out of him and spooks MCs. She know my type of style is like my everything. Apparently my appetite stay famished by no hand that feed. The culture vulture die and bleed. I think he's referring to hip hop now because it sounds like he's talking to hip hop. this is like her, or I used to love her, like those sorts of tracks. But yeah, she know my style, my type of style is like my everything. Like, he is his style of rapping and his style of delivery and everything like that. And then his appetite stays famished, so he's always hungry, he's always grinding, he's always doing it. But he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him because, shit, you can't. But then the culture of ultra die and bleed, yes, that will happen. Like, they will get to the point where people realize that, yo, what the hell are you doing? You ain't even for the culture, you're just a vulture. So, I like that he acknowledged that. My focus hold these thoughts and dreams, control the pen, look over your shoulder. Boldest lines and rhymes and things, devote my time and mind, it seems. His focus holds these thoughts and dreams. I think he's talking about the things that he focuses on, like, or his writings, or like that's just always on his mind. Obviously his thoughts and his dreams, but his thoughts and dreams can just kind of be a whole bunch of everything. It sounds like his focus, which is holding these thoughts and dreams, could also just be controlling the pen. And then he's writing these bold lines and rhymes. And then this is kind of what he's devoting his time to. Supposed to shine, remind I'm king, provoke the blind and bomb the fiends. The pros and the cons, the diamond rings, the forward time, but I'm a bring. He's basically like, he's supposed to shine. Like, he is a king. And I think, again, because this was written a few years ago, it could have been that this was written when he was starting out and he wanted to kind of get that extra push and like really go for it, you know what I mean? Like, so he has to keep reminding himself that, yo, I am dope. Like, don't let the others just kind of like say whatever. Like, don't just hear what people are saying. Like, actually remember that, yo, no, I am actually good. Fuck the haters, basically. Provoke the blind and bomb the fiends. Provoking the blind sounds like he wants his message to reach others, like, no matter if they can actually see or not. Like, you are going to receive this message, whether you can actually see the message or you can hear it. The soul divine and cross between what's yours and mine's the gold, the green, the rose that show just what I mean, that grab Shakur and by the wing, and fly before my vocal scream. He's continuing on that idea, like, that he has to remind himself that he's king. And, you know, he is, in the earlier line, he's got diamond rings. There are pros and cons, but there's a lot of things in between, like the soul and the cross. So he's talking about religion here. What's yours and what's mine, the gold, the green. He's basically saying, like, what do we have as a group, as a community, as a people? Like, we got the gold and we got the green. Gold could be jewelry, could be thoughts, could be really whatever people consider to be gold. And then the green could literally just be money or thoughts and ideas that can make money. And then the rose that show just what I mean, that grabbed Shakur and by the wing. Like, obviously he refers to Tupac quite frequently, and I mean, that's just part of Kendrick. Like, that is just him. But him bringing up Tupac here is like, he is being grabbed by the same roads and pretty much all the same things that Tupac was grabbed by, like, to push him forward in his career. For hip-hop, look at my Ziploc bag full of goodies. You Chris Rock, hit the Pookie and pit stops. Since tube socks, baby, you a hell of a drug. Just look over their shoulders when they fuck you over. It's love, I know you. This is him bringing it back to hip-hop. Like, yo, for hip-hop, look at this bag of goodies I got. Like, he's got everything. Like, he can be literally candy, but I think it's more of him like, this is what I have. Like, this is what my contribution to hip-hop is. And he's then reminiscing again, like, since back in the day, since tube socks, you were a hell of a drug. Like, he's been on hip-hop since he was young. And then he's like, you know, even when they fuck you over, it's all love. And then goes back in the chorus. Don't you know, baby? Don't you know, baby? Just look over your shoulders, honey, whenever you need me. Just look over your shoulders. Whenever you need me, just look over your shoulders, honey. Yeah, you need me. And then Busta Rhymes. Shh. Look over your shoulder, give me Cause I done bodied the game to the point. Dudes scared to rap with me. Get burned until they anointed me. I think he's going from a more ominous sort of feeling. But he's like, yo, look over your shoulder. But it's more of like this is a reminder that I bodied the game up until this point, and dudes is scared to rap with me, and they're just gonna keep getting burned until one of the kings of Black history. And yes, I see the game is a little different. Dudes lack simply, and bars and I spit them like darts. He is eventually going to be anointed one of the kings of Black history, one of the kings of hip hop, possibly. I would say so. He's got a pretty significant influence. And yes, I see the game a little different. Is a little different. Dudes just lack simply, and bars and I spit them like darts is basically him just like, yo, the game done changed, but I'm still bringing what I bring. Like, this is Busta Rhymes. This is what he's gonna do. Till they puncture your kidney, you trash, and it don't matter how much you gonna try to convince me, and you gonna make my gun cock until your whole night away. Yeah, I'm the Buddha, the Alibaba, the believer maker. Oh my God, Busta Rhymes. But he's got bars. They gonna shoot out like darts, and they gonna puncture your kidney because they sharp. Like, his lines are sharp. His bars are sharp. And you trash. Don't matter how much you gonna convince him, you still trash to him. And he's kind of fed up at this point. It sounds like he's like, yo, you're just gonna make me cock my gun and until your whole night away. He goes back. He's like, I'm the Buddha, the Alibaba, the believer maker. Basically comparing himself to those people, saying, I'm gonna make you a believer. And I think making them a believer in the sense is about hip hop. Like, make them believe in hip hop. Like, not necessarily just for outsiders who just kind of hate hip hop for whatever reason, but for the younger groups that don't necessarily know the history. Like, he's gonna make them believe about, I guess, the history of hip hop. So pristine, the dice roll from under my sleeve when I shake 'em. So rude, but I'm so ice cold, but I'm what you need just to wake 'em. While 'em crowns and medals on the wall waiting for me to just take 'em. When I arrive, my theme music got a pound to it. Basically, he is pristine and rude at the same time. Like, he is untouchable. Not really untouchable. Like, he's just very pristine. Like, yes, you are very clean, sir. That's the only word that I can think of to explain it. But then he's so rude, but he's ice cold, so it's just what you need to wake him. And then he's got crowns and medals on the wall. But, well, other people have crowns and medals on the wall, but he's just gonna take them. And when he arrives, his theme music, he gonna pound to it. He gonna beat you down to his own music. And when I leave, even my shadow got a sound to it. Cause I'm the God, the heart of the martyr, the father, that spit the saliva that's leaking the lava, completing the saga while meeting and greeting. When he leaves, his shadow got a sound to it. Like, just his presence alone is loud. And he is the God, the harder, the martyr, and the father. Like, he is every aspect of hip hop, or he represents every aspect of hip hop in his mind, or at least if this is what we're going off of, like, these are the quote unquote, like, holy parts of hip hop. So he has aspects of all of them. And then he spits the saliva that's leaking the lava. Like, his bars are hot. And beating you dudes completely. Conquer, extremely bark on a dude. You see me, you deeply carve up a dude. Believe me. Graffiti your arm up, you heebie, you GB. He's basically just going to keep beating you until you're completely beaten and conquered. Like, he's going to bark on you. Like, when he's done with you, you are going to understand where he's coming from and understand a little bit more about hip hop. But Kenny, you brought up, you give me pity. Now give me the startup. You treat me, you greet me, you meet me with arms up. So sweat when I spit. He's talking to Kendrick here. So I think he's now tying in what Kendrick said. like talking about this is for hip hop and he's doing it for hip hop. Yeah, because when he says now give me the startup, it sounds like, yo, start the song. But then it's like, but the song already started, Bus. You already halfway through your verse. What? And then I think he's just referring to how Kendrick greets him. He's like, you treat me, you greet me, you meet me with arms up. He's like, yo, Bus. Like, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's something that Kendrick would do regardless, I feel, because, like, again, the song was recorded a few years ago. So it could just really be that Kendrick was, like, hella excited. I don't know. Or maybe he's just trying to, like, remind people, like, this is how people who respect me greet me. Heaven's deep, it was deep. I was asleep, now the guard's up. Upholding the fundamentals while most of you boast the rental. Yeah, he was asleep because he was gone for a little bit, but now his guard's back up. And he's upholding the fundamentals of hip-hop, of rap, of music, while most of you boast the rental, which is probably talking about how a lot of newer rappers just have rental cars and try to play them off as they real cars. Focus on what's most essential. Spit bars to provoke your mental. Do I have your attendiamento? While I clap these raps like thunders. Look over your shoulder, boy, and wonder. Focusing on what's most essential could be about hip-hop again, because I'm almost certain this is a song dedicated to hip-hop. Like, what else could it be? I mean, again, there's more, I'm sure, but that's what I'm getting from it. Spit bars to provoke your mental. He's got bars and bars and bars that are meant to just kind of make you think. Like, provoke your mental, provoke your thoughts. And it's great that he had Kendrick on this, because Kendrick's one of those dudes that make you think. Do I have your attention? While I clap these raps like thunder, look over your shoulder, boy, and wonder. It's like, while I rap this hard and spit this hard, like, just look over your shoulder and wonder what could have been if I wasn't here. Or what everyone else is doing behind me. And then we get the chorus again, which is exactly the same as the previous one. But yeah, overall, this song was dope. I think the sample fits it very well. It is very interesting though, because this isn't what I would have expected from a Kendrick and Busta Rhymes song. Because the last time they collaborated was on the Rigor Mortis remix, which was just Busta Rhymes spazzing. But, and then, I mean, that was a fast song regardless. And I don't think Kendrick's really the type of person to do fast raps very often, so I think that makes a little bit of sense for it to be a more chill and slower song. But, I don't know, it kind of took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting this sort of sound. I liked it though, especially with the sample. The sample was dope. I wonder how much it cost to clear that, because, oh my god. Like, having Michael Jackson sample from the Jackson 5, like, come on now, that's not going to be cheap. But regardless, that was dope. But yeah, I stand by the thought that this song is about hip-hop, because it's been a while since Busta Rhymes came back, and I'm sure he would want to make music about hip-hop, because he came from that era. Like, he came from that era where hip-hop was more in the rhymes and in your technical ability. And obviously he did have some success in the more mainstream, you could say, but he still focuses heavily on the bars and the lyrics and the words in the songs. And it shows here. Like, he is very intentional with his words. And obviously Kendrick is as well, but it's a different sort of intention, it seems like. Because Kendrick's verse was very rooted in, yo, I'm doing this for hip-hop, I need hip-hop, but hip-hop always has me too. Like, I'm always here for it. Bus is a little bit different. Like, he doesn't necessarily say that he's there for hip-hop, but I mean, it's assumed, because he's had a long career. He's been around since the 90s. So he's been around. He's seen a lot of people come and go. So that's kind of what he's talking about here. He's like, yo, I've seen all this happen, but the only thing that's still standing is the bars, like the lyrics. Like, you can have people who come and go, but like, again, the only thing that lasts is the lyrics and the bars and the songs. You can make pop music and be here for a second, make your money and dip, but that's not long lasting. Like it really feels like he's kind of like, yeah, no, this is meant to last longer than just for the moment. Anyways, I thought the song was dope. I love the sample. I'm excited for Extinction Level Event 2, and I guess this is an early video for Busta Rhymes week. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, because it's very likely that I did. They could be referencing things that I'm not aware of, because to be fair, I haven't really listened to Busta Rhymes in a minute. Regardless, let me know what you thought of my breakdown and the song, and if I missed anything or misinterpreted anything. And then subscribe and like this video if you want to. That's totally up to you, because I'm going to keep doing these, and if you want to see them, your best way to do it is to subscribe. And with that said, thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.